We have going a live simulcast on is the audio, and here on YouTube is the video. Welcome everybody. This is the word according to me. We are getting ready to talk about the college football season and the playoff. Starts tonight. Ohio State versus Indiana on ESPN. It should be a fun game. Indiana was very good last year. And of course, Ohio State went into the college football playoff. And that's what I'm really going to focus on is the playoffs exactly. I'm going to talk about my local teams here in Chicago and in the surrounding areas. But instead of, because you got 116, 118 some odd teams, I can't talk about all of them. So I'm just going to talk about the entire season. What I'm just going to talk about really is just the four teams I am predicting to make the college football playoff. And then I'm going to talk about my local teams really quick. So here on Spreaker, I'm not a paying member. I only get 15 minutes. So once the 15 minutes is up on Spreaker, make sure you go over it on YouTube, and you will find the rest of it. Because I'm sure I'm going to go over 15 minutes because I like to elaborate on a lot of things. First, let me really first give you the teams I think are going to make it. I am predicting Michigan, USC, Alabama, and Oklahoma to each make the college football Final Four. I think teams like Ohio State, teams Washington, who made it last year, my favorite team, Notre Dame, as you can see by the jersey, all have a shot at making this a Final Four. But those are the four teams I am hoping will make my predictions look good. I really don't care. But this is what I would like for them to see. So let's look at the 2017 Michigan Wolverines and look at what they have going for them. It starts Saturday. They have Florida. Five players were suspended from Florida, and so they're without. I mean, even the star receiver. So they're without five players. So this should be an excellent game. I expect Michigan to win. In Cincinnati, they have Air Force. They get into their Big Ten schedule. Purdue, Michigan State, Indiana, Penn State, Rutgers, Minnesota, Maryland, Wisconsin, and Ohio State. Now, out of that schedule, Florida, Penn State, Wisconsin, and Ohio State are the only teams ranked on their schedule. They have four teams that are ranked. Now, of course, there are going to be teams that will jump up and be better than they are, and maybe even a team like Penn State that's ranked 6th, and Wisconsin that's ranked 9th. They will end up maybe falling back to the pack a little bit, but I think with only 4 ranked teams, and I think Michigan team is good enough that they can beat Florida, Penn State, and Wisconsin. Now, all worries on that Ohio State game. They should go into that game 11-0, waiting for the Ohio State Buckeyes, who this year they come to Michigan, they come to the Big House, so that should give them an advantage. So I'm going to say right now, prediction: Michigan State goes 12-0. They get into the Big Ten championship game. They win that one 13-0, and that's how they make the college football playoff. Let's go to USC, and let's talk about them. The USC Trojans. I think they're with Sam Darnold, who I think best thing about Sam Darnold is actually his grandfather. I can't remember right now, but his grandfather has like this great name, and I can't forget it. But you can just go and search it and look for it, and it's funny. Now Sam Darnold is the quarterback of USC Trojans. You look at their schedule; they start against Western Michigan. They get directly into Pac-12 play with Stanford, number 14. Then they take a week off. They go to Texas, who ranked 23rd. They got Cal. Then they have the Washington State. I don't forget what their thing is. I mean, maybe they're the Wildcats too. Everybody's a fucking Wildcat. They're the 24th ranked team. They have Oregon State, Utah. Then they go to Notre Dame. They have at Arizona State, Arizona, at Colorado, and then of course the battle for the Big Bail at UCLA. So I think that if they can get past Stanford, they also have a good opportunity to run the table. They really do. I think they have a good time to run the table to go 12-0, get to that Pac-12 championship game, and then win that one to be 13-0 and 13-0 going into the college football playoff. Now, as a Notre Dame fan, I would like to see them lose, but I'm not going to go there just yet with Notre Dame. When we get to Notre Dame, I'll get to them in a second. But that's what happens with UCF. I can't talk today. I've been having troubles all day. Everything. The USC Trojans, I think, go 13-0, and that's how they make playoff. So let's see. Let's now go to Alabama. The Alabama Crimson Tide. I mean, really, a lot of people think that Florida will contend. A lot of people think other teams will contend. But but let's give it credit. They don't rebuild; they reload. And the quarterback last year was a freshman. Now is a sophomore. What's his face is gone. Lane Kiffin is out of there. So it should be very, very interesting when it comes down to Alabama. And so let's look at their schedule. Saturday, the number 3 ranked Florida State Seminoles. You have Fresno State, Colorado State. And then they get into SEC country. You get Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Arkansas. The 25th ranked Tennessee. The 13th ranked Louisiana State. Mississippi State, their homecoming game against Mercer. Which I have no idea why they do that. And then the number 12 team, Auburn. Let me tell you something. For all that we talk about the SEC and the great conference that it is and all of that, teams like Alabama and LSU and Auburn and all of these other things down there, for their homecoming games, they don't stay within their conference, really. They don't. They face teams like Mercer and face teams like... And then once they get there, at halftime is 60-0, and then they have to change the game where the game only becomes 10-minute quarters, and the clock just runs, that the clock doesn't stop for nothing, just keeps running so that they don't embarrass the goddamn team. But, take that team. Like, guess what? Colorado State? Put Colorado State down there at least. Fresno, yeah, and then put another team. Yeah, Fresno State down there where Mercer is, and then play another team on the road. Play at Notre Dame, right? Play at BYU, someone that's is in this goddamn FBS, whatever. If they can get past Florida State, I truly think obviously they will run the table, and they will also be 12-0. I think they'll beat Auburn, and Auburn's ranked number 12. But I think they'll go down there, they'll be 12-0. And then they'll probably play against Florida. And if they can get past Florida in the SEC championship game, I think without question, there you are. That's how Alabama, 13-0, 3 undefeated teams make the college football playoff as the way I have it right now. So Michigan at 13-0, USC at 13-0, and Alabama at 13-0 make the college football playoff, in my opinion. Okay. Got a little time here on Spreaker, so that's good. So now let's check out Oklahoma. Oklahoma coming out of the Big Ten. Now the reason why I'm picking Oklahoma over a team like Florida State or someone from the SEC or even maybe a second Big Ten team like Ohio State or a second SEC team like Florida is I just think that Oklahoma came so close that they are going to do that. So I kind of think that they're so close. Obviously, Bob Stoops retired. He stepped down. The offensive coordinator is now the new head coach. And I think that this is going to be something that they want to. Now, even though the Big 12 has 10 teams, I think they've said that they're going to do a championship game. So, that being said, let's look at their schedule. They have Saturday, they're at UTEP. And then next Saturday, big Saturday night game against the number 2 ranked Ohio State. This is one of the reasons why I did not pick Ohio State, because I think Ohio State is not only going to lose to Oklahoma, but they're going to lose to Michigan. So with 2 losses, I don't think Ohio State makes the college football playoff. So that's why I did not choose them. We go to Tulane. We go to Baylor. We get Iowa State. Then they have the Texas in the Red River Shootout. That would be interesting. That's always a big game, and literally the saying is you can throw out the records. You can throw out the records on the Red River rivalry because Texas, when they have been bad, and Oklahoma's been good, they have beaten them, and vice versa. When Oklahoma's been good and bad, and Texas has been good, Oklahoma's beaten them. So that's the game. Now you get past Texas, you got Kansas State ranked number 20th. You have Texas Tech. That's always an interesting one. Then you got Bedlam. Bedlam is early this year for some reason. Bedlam is Saturday, November 4th. That's kind of hurts me as a guy who loves the rivalry. That kind of hurts me that Bedlam is early. But Oklahoma State's number 10. They can get past Oklahoma State. And you have TCU, you have Kansas, and then 22nd ranked West Virginia. Now, all these rankings are going to change throughout the season. The teams will lose and go down, or teams will get better and go up. So you never know what these rankings will mean. But I'm going to say that they beat all of these teams. They slip by Oklahoma State, and then they win the next three. They'll be 12-0 going into this new Big 12 championship game. They'll win the championship game, and then they will also be 13-0. So, for the first time in this new era of the playoff era, 4 teams will be undefeated going into the college football playoff. So, as I see it, 13-0 Michigan, 13-0 USC, 13-0 Alabama, and 13-0 Oklahoma. So, with all that being said, who do I choose to go on? I don't, without trying to rank them, because you never know how the college football playoff committee looks at it. I just say that we have Michigan on one side, we'll have Alabama on the other side. Michigan and Alabama for the national championship, and Michigan wins. Jim Harbaugh brings home a championship to Michigan and the big house. Wolverine Nation goes crazy. Michigan, Jim Harbaugh wins another national championship. Alabama once again falls short 2 years in a row, but give them all the credit in the world for making it back there, losing, but once again reloading instead of rebuilding. And this time, Jalen Hurts is a tremendous player once again, but this time it's once again the defense that lets them down. Michigan's not going to run that offense. They are a pro-style offense. They're going to do what they do. They're not going to up tempo, speed, or anything like that. But I just think that they're going to outplay Alabama. So that's why that's what I think of the college football playoff. Like I said, I think Florida State's still going to be good. Ohio State's still going to be good. I think Washington's still going to be in the mix. I think there are going to be a lot of teams. If some teams falter, one of these teams falter once, maybe even twice, some of those other teams will come up. Like my Notre Dame Fighting Irish, I've always rooted for. I've always said that the Notre Dame. I know because of the restrictions that Notre Dame is in, they cannot be an every year dominant force like they were in the 80s into the 90s and even in the past. But they should. I say every 3 years they should make the college football playoff. That's what I think. And then the other years they should be battling for it. They should be battling for a spot. So that's how I think of it. Otherwise, it's kind of like, you should just expect every year, USC, Oklahoma, Texas, Texas, they're not yet. Michigan, Florida State, these like 6-8 teams to continue to be around the national championship, maybe even Oregon sometime. Maybe Oregon get back on track this year as well. And then maybe you have every night a new team. That year was Washington. Maybe we get another 6, and then maybe Boise State will come up. Who knows? So for my people on Spreaker, I want to thank you guys for listening to this live version of the game according to me. I really appreciate it. And as always, go over right now to April the 20th on YouTube. I'm going to finish up my preview section with the 4 local teams: Notre Dame, Illinois, Illinois, Northern Illinois, and Northwestern. See you guys later.